Good afternoon. My name is Mark Brohan, and I am with Executive Marketing and Business Advisory Services. And today, we're here with our series of expert talks, talking with our mastermind guest of the day, Steve Baker, who is the Senior Security Solutions Architect at Rutter Networking Technologies. And as I introduce Steve, we're going to talk about an issue and a series of issues that's top of mind for many companies and organizations of all size today, and that is network and cybersecurity. It doesn't take more than a look at the headlines with fraud and hacking in the headlines constantly with our last election, if you will, and data breaches and data hacks across multiple vertical markets are becoming an even bigger threat, an even costlier process for businesses. And we're going to talk with Steve this afternoon to figure out what it is that can be done about it. And more importantly, in talking with Rutter Networking Technologies here, we're going to specifically address what Rutter does and what they bring to the mix, and then offer some good takeaways for how companies and organizations of all size can get a handle on better network and cybersecurity. So, Steve, thank you once again, and welcome to Mastermind Speaks.
Thanks, Mark. I'm glad to be here.
So, as we mentioned, this has been an ongoing problem, but now kind of an escalating problem for quite some time for a lot of companies and organizations. But can you tell us more about your background and role at Rutter that has prepared you to deal with these kinds of issues?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been with Rutter for about 10 years. Kind of started as a individual contributor, led the security practice for a number of years, and then moved into a senior architect role. Really focused on helping our customers solve some of those kind of complex needs that you mentioned, and navigate some of those challenges that we're seeing in the industry.
And why do you think that this is becoming much more of a prominent problem now than, say, in the last year or 18 months? Because I mean, the headlines basically are all about us, which is these hacks and breaches are becoming a much bigger problem. Why is that, do you think? What's
Yeah,
driving that?
so I mean, I think it's it's become a financially motivated challenge, if you will, right? So a lot of these hackers and malicious actors that are out there, they're backed by whether it's nation states or people that are trying to get their hands on financial data and things like that to be able to make money, right? Whether it's things like credit cards or social security numbers. And when there's money backing it, it's not just somebody that's doing it as a hobby or somebody that's potentially just trying to learn. There's money involved, and that makes things much more serious, I think.
So as we know, I mean, cyber threats and network solutions and services and applications to deal with security and cyber threats, they're certainly not new. But in your view, why is there a critical need for increased networking security among organizations of all sizes?
Well, simply put, Mark, I think that the threats are becoming more complex, right, and the damage is becoming more significant, right? As the threats that we're seeing get more and more advanced, and folks are able to get deeper and deeper into a network or into an application, there's a lot more risk involved, and there's a lot more at stake, right? And not to mention the fact that as we talk about things like digital transformation and things of that nature, companies are relying more and more on technology to operate their businesses. So the stakes are much higher, and therefore, the level of effort to keep your data safe and keep your applications protected is that much more important.
And so, with this becoming much more of a prominent priority, as we mentioned, for companies and organizations of all size, let's talk about Rutter specifically, if we can. You folks have been in the game for 20 plus years. You've got experts that deal with this on a daily basis. But how does Rutter help existing and potential clients evaluate and prioritize better network security, both for the network per se, and for these ongoing cyber threats that seem to keep coming at us from all directions?
So I think there's two things that we do that are really beneficial to our customers and our potential customers. One is, we're really focused on trying to understand what the problem is that they're trying to solve. Trying to understand, the applications that they're using, the use cases for technology, and then make sure that they're putting in place the correct solutions. Rather than just selling them a product that we claim is going to fix all of their problems, right? We've been doing cybersecurity long enough to know that it takes a layered approach and it can be complex, and so we're really focused on helping our customers navigate that and make the right choices to address their needs.
There's an old saying that an organization is only as good as its partners, and so I understand that Rutter works with 15 different or so partners in terms of applications and services. Could you talk about who some of those partners are, how they came to be part of the Rutter team, so to speak, and then what type of role does that play when evaluating a potential client for what you can do for them in terms of better security?
Sure, yeah. So, we have a number of strategic partners in the security space. Checkpoint is one of them. We do quite a bit of work with CrowdStrike, as well as Duo. And I think for us, when we look at a new technology partner, we really try to put them to the test to understand, how they solve our customers' issues. And sometimes we'll do things like use them in-house and make sure that we're comfortable with them. But really, we do spend a lot of time with our vendors trying to understand how their technology fit our customers' needs. And that's been pretty successful for us over the years.
And then the products and services here keep getting more and more sophisticated, especially as a lot of companies begin to migrate away from legacy systems to a more cloud-based environment. And it's also exasperated, I would think, by the fact that a lot of us are now working from home. And I would think that would present even more network issues that must be resolved. So there's a lot of companies out there that say they can deal and help with this type of challenge and problem. But let's focus on Rutter here. What makes Rutter stand out from other companies offering these types of services and products?
So I think for us, as I said, or as you said as well, we've got quite a bit of engineering talent. We've got folks that have, kind of seen a lot of different things, been in a lot of different environments, and also hold a number of different industry certifications. So, we have a lot of experience in helping customers address those needs. So for us, it's really about, trying to make sure, again, that we're focused on those things, that the technology partners that we bring in, aren't necessarily the newest and the hottest technology that's out there, but are really the proven technologies that serve our customers best. And then we're able to use those technologies to help customers put together a comprehensive security plan, that kind of addresses their needs. Whether it's for things like remote access where people are out in the field and working from home, or for protecting applications that maybe on-prem, maybe in the cloud. That's really where we try to focus our time.
And Steve, our final question for you today is basically one that kind of comes from the school of no one size fits all. So could you talk about how Rutter helps a company or an organization of any size evaluate, customize, and then launch, an improved security and cybersecurity networking solutions that's based on their needs? So you kind of walk us through how you work with your clients, if you will, to accomplish that goal and objective.
Yeah, sure. So really it's about trying to understand, again, as I mentioned, the business needs and what's driving their interest in, beefing up their security, cybersecurity posture, whether it's, regulatory compliance, just kind of, protecting their own intellectual property or for whatever the reason may be, really digging in with them, trying to understand what their needs are, what their exposure points are, and then working with them to make sure that they're selecting the right technologies and taking the right steps to mitigate threats to their organization. And that can take a number of different forms depending upon the organization and what they're dealing with. But really, our focus there is to try and make sure, again, that they're picking the appropriate technologies and that we're helping them implement them in the most, robust way possible. Making sure that we're complying with all the regulatory needs that they have, making sure that we are, thinking about the future too, right? Because security is always changing. There's new threats every day. And so we don't want to address a problem for today and then, introduce a new problem or find out that, we open them up to a different gap in the future. So we really spend a lot of time trying to make sure that the solutions, when they're implemented, are done so, following best practices and industry standards so that we can help the customer be in the best position possible.
Steve, I want to thank you for taking some time and kind of walking us through some very critical top of mind issues today as they relate to network and cybersecurity. So we want to thank our guest, Steve Baker, who is Senior Security Solutions Architect at Rutter Networking Technologies. And I'm Mark Brohan. Thank you for checking out the latest episode of Mastermind Speaks, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Steve, once again, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate it, Mark.